Hi guys, so this is an updated lesson on consonant assimilation. I already have a video on the same topic, but I wanted to make another one to give you more examples and show you guys how consonant assimilation works in an easier way. And to follow this lesson well, make sure you have prior knowledge on basic consonants and vowels in Korean alphabet, for which you can find the video right here in the link here, and also the knowledge on 받침, the final consonant, for which you can find another video right here, or you can also find it in the description box altogether. And I say this because consonant assimilation is a phonetic phenomenon that happens between a final consonant sound in the previous letter and the first consonant sound in the next letter. So it's the phenomenon that happens between these two. And even though consonant assimilation is a natural phonetic phenomenon, I think it's easy to forget about it when you're actually trying to pronounce the words or sentences. And I've experienced that with many learners. And when I correct their pronunciation based on the assimilation rules, they find it much easier to remember how to pronounce them. And also, if you don't know how exactly a word is pronounced, even if you know how a word is spelled, you're likely not going to recognize that word when you hear it. So in that way, it'll also help improve your listening. So even if it seems boring and it seems like a lot, in the long run, it's a very useful set of rules to improve your Korean overall. And please don't worry too much. It won't be that difficult because, like I said, it's a natural phonetic phenomenon. So a lot of them will make sense. There are some tricky words, though, like they don't follow the regular assimilation rule and are pronounced a different certain way. But they're not the majority, and I will walk you through on those words of exceptions too. So no need to be intimidated, guys. Oh, and I also wanted to add that this video is not a grammar lesson. It's more focused on the pronunciation and vocabularies. I wanted to say this because there are some sentences that I brought other than just words. And while explaining these sentences, I will also mention bits of grammars too. But it's okay to just pass if you don't understand. I know that learners of a variety of levels are watching, and I'm aware that there are learners who haven't got into the basic grammar yet. So just in case you get confused, you can just let go of it for now and just focus on the vocabularies and the pronunciation. So I wanted to mention that just in case. So now let's really start the lesson, guys. So I have all the list of consonant assimilation rules here. And this same, maybe a little revised version of the file will be uploaded on my website. I will link it in the description box below, so you guys can kind of print it out when following this lesson. That will be very helpful when you want to take note, right, on how to pronounce it or what is the meaning of each word. So let's start from 기역 받침, guys. 기역 받침. When 기역 받침 is combined with different consonant, what kind of sound it makes. So let's start from 기역 받침 when it's combined with 니은 consonant. So before we move on to the actual Korean words, let's look at this English word ignore first. And I brought this as a comparison because we know that 기역 받침 has uk sound, right? uk. And 니은 consonant has n sound. And same with this G, this one has uk sound, right? Ik, right? And then this one has n sound. So this is a very similar phenomenon that happens between 기역 받침 and 니은 consonant. So if you try pronouncing it, it'll sound like ignore. So you don't say ignore. This uk sound kind of softens to sound as soon as it meets n sound, right? So it becomes ignore. And the same thing happens when 기역 받침 is combined with 니은 consonant. So let's look at the example words. First one is 작년. So you can see that there is 기역 받침 here, uk, and then it's combined with n sound. So it's ukn, right? And when you pronounce ukn fast, ung, this uk softens to sound, right? Sound. So rather than enunciating 작년, you can instead say 작년. And 작년 means last year. Last year. 작년. So you can pronounce it like 작년. 작년. And let's look at another example. This word is a combination of 미국 and 날씨. 미국 means the US, the country, and 날씨 means weather. So 미국 날씨 means the weather in the US weather. And the way I pronounced that, did you notice? 미국 날씨, 미국 날씨. So there is no, this word isn't spelled like this, right? It's not spelled like 미국 날씨, but still it's pronounced 미국 날씨 because of the consonant assimilation that happens between uk and n. 응느. 미국 날씨, 미국 날씨, 미국 날씨. US weather. So you don't have to enunciate 미국 날씨. That's going to hurt your mouth. So consonant assimilation will help soften your pronunciation. And let's look at this expression. 깜짝 놀랐어요. And it means I was very surprised. I was very surprised. And let's look at 깜짝 first. 깜짝. So 깜짝 is kind of an idiophone that always follows the verb 놀라다. 놀라다. And 놀라다 is a verb that means to be surprised. And this 깜짝 is an adverb and an idiophone that means very surprised. But in itself, it doesn't mean very because it only means very when it follows 놀라다 verb. And so these kinds of words are called idiophone, and there are a couple of examples in Korean, but this is one of the examples. So if you want to say, I was very surprised, like, oh, wow, I was so shocked, you can say, 깜짝 놀랐어요. 깜짝 놀랐어요. And the way I pronounced it was 깜짝 놀랐어요. 깜짝 놀랐어요. 윽느 combined softens 윽 to 응 sound, right? So it's more pronounced 깜짝 놀랐어요. 깜짝 놀랐어요. And moving on to the next rule when 기역 받침 is combined with 리을 consonant, guys. And this is a very relevant word in this era. So 자가격리. It means self-quarantine. And the way I pronounced it, if you noticed, is 자가격리. So uk and 르, 응. If you pronounce it fast, this uk also softens to ung sound. So you can pronounce it like 경. Another interesting thing happens is that 르 sound gets replaced to 느 sound, and you pronounce it like this. 격리, 자가격리. So it's okay if it's like possible for you. You can say 격리. Like you can be really clear with the 르 sound, but a lot of Koreans tend to find it a lot easier when this mixture happens to replace lir with 느 sound. Maybe because we're not really used to like 르 sound. I'm not sure. But if you try it yourself, you realize that 자가격리 is a lot easier to pronounce than 자가격리. 자가격리. It's more clean, 자가격리, and it's easier to pronounce. So when uk is combined with 르, this uk softens to 응, and 르 gets replaced with 느 sound. So 응, and then 느 sound. And the same happens with the next example. 저는 기억력이 좋아요. So if you notice, the way I pronounce this word is 기억력, right? 기, uk softens to 응, and 리을 sound gets replaced with 력, just because it's more convenient to pronounce it that way. So 저는 기억력이 좋아요. And this combination, guys, is something that we haven't learned yet because we're still at 기역 받침, right? We will learn this when we go over 히읗 받침 consonant assimilation. But just for like a brief mention of rule, when 히읗 받침 is combined with 이응 consonant, 히읗 받침 produces no sound. So you can just pronounce it. You can just ignore this 흐, although it has to be spelled this way, this 히읗 받침, and you can just say 좋아요, 좋아요. We're going to go over it again soon when we're doing 히읗 받침. So don't worry about it, guys, if you didn't get it. So 저는 기억력이 좋아요. And it means I have a good memory. I have a good memory. And 기억력 itself is a good word to remember. It literally means a memory power. So your ability to retain like certain things in your mind for a long time, right? 기억력, memory power. And moving on to 기역 받침 when it's combined with 미음 consonant. So I think before we move on to like the example words, we can actually try pronouncing them and see what happens naturally. So uk and mu, right? 응무, 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 응무. So uk softens to ung again, right? And then you combine it with mu sound. 응무, 응무. So remembering that, it would be easier to pronounce these two words. 100만 원, 100만 원, 100만 원. So this one is pronounced like 100만 원, 100만 원, 100만 원, right? 100만 원. And this one, 100m, 100m. uk softens to ung as soon as it meets m sound. 100m. And each one means, so this one means 1 million won, 1 million won. So to break this word down, this won, you guys know that Korea's currency is won, right? Won. And 100만 is 1 million, 1 million. So when you say 100만 won, it means 1 million won, and it amounts to about 1,000 USD, a little less. And 100m, 100m means 100 meter, 100 meter. So 100만 is 1 million. And if you kind of break down this number, just for fun, guys, and just for a little more vocabulary lesson, 100 means 100, 100. And if you multiply 10,000 to 100, it becomes 1 million, right? So 만 means 10,000. But you'll learn more about this in the number lesson specifically. And how about this one? This one is read 목말라요, 목말라요. So again, uk softens to ung as soon as it meets m, right? So it becomes 목말라요, 목말라요, 목말라요. And it means I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. 목 means neck or even throat. Neck or throat, and 말라요 means like it's dry. So it literally means my throat is dry, and we use it to mean I'm thirsty. 목말라요, 목말라요. And so I brought words with 키읔 받침. I brought 키읔 받침 first, although 키읔 is in like the last part of the order of the consonants. I brought this first because 키읔 받침 itself has the same sound with 기역 받침, right? They both have uk sound, uk, right? Uk. So when you read this word, 부억, 부억, it's pronounced 부억, just like 기역 받침, right? But you have to spell it with this one to write it in a correct way, but it's pronounced 부억. So 억 with 기역 받침, 억 with 기역 받침 sound exactly the same. So when 기역 받침 is combined with like 니은 or 미음 consonant, the same assimilation happens. So if you say 부억 and 냄새 together, which means kitchen, 부억 means kitchen, guys, kitchen, 냄새, smell. If you try to pronounce it fast, it becomes 부엉 냄새, 부엉 냄새, 부엉 냄새. The kitchen smell, the smell that comes from the kitchen. And you can see that this uk sound softens to ung sound as soon as it meets n sound. 부엉 냄새, the kitchen smell. And the same when it meets 미음 consonant. 부엉문, 부엉문, right? 부엉문, 부엉문. A kitchen, 문, door, a kitchen door. 부엉문. So you can see that this uk sound softens to sound, right? 부엉문, 부엉문. And moving on to when 기역 받침 is combined with 이응 consonant. So these kinds of combination where 받침 is combined with 이응 consonant is not really hard to get. So for example, like 저녁을 먹어요. This is a combination of 기역 받침 and 이응 consonant, right? 기역 받침, 이응 consonant. And also you can see there's a 기역 받침, 이응 consonant, 리을 받침, 이응 consonant. So what happens when a 받침 sound is combined with the 이응 consonant sound is that since we learned 이응 consonant doesn't have any sound, right? It just follows whatever sound the next vowel is, right? So that's why this is pronounced 을. The consonant doesn't really do anything. The consonant doesn't add any sound. It's just the sound of the vowel, right? 을. So what happens when a 받침 sound is combined with this is that you just move this 기역 받침 to the next letter and read it as if this is the first consonant. So this word is pronounced 저녁을 먹어요. You combine this 그 sound with 어 vowel, right? 먹어요. And also this one, 부엌에, because 기역 받침 has to combine with this letter, and when it becomes the first consonant sound, it becomes 그 sound, right? So 부엌에. Same with this one. 들어와요. This 받침 sound moved to a consonant sound, right? 들어와요. So the 받침 combination with 이응 consonant is pretty easy to understand. So that's why I didn't bring a lot of these kinds of combination where 받침 is combined. You can just connect the two sounds naturally. So I won't be doing a lot of 이응 consonant combination, except for when it's an irregular rule that I talked about at the beginning of this video, right? There are certain irregular rules that don't follow the regular rules that other guys do, right? So that's why I brought these two words that have a different pronunciation rule. 한국, this one means Korea, or it can also mean like Korean like food, Korean person. You can use 한국. And 중국 means China. And 요리, guys, 요리 means dish. So 중국 요리 would mean Chinese dish. And so if we follow the rule that we just learned, it should be 중국 요리, right? 한국 요리, and 중국 요리, right? It should be 교리, because 그 and 요 has to be connected according to the rule that we just learned, right? However, these guys are not pronounced that way. These guys are pronounced 한국 요리, 중국 요리. So this might sound weird, right? Because there's no like ni은 sound, right? Or mium sound. Then why do uk sound get softened to 응? And this is something, 중국 요리. And then there's another example that works similar way, which is this word. So according to the rule that we know, it should be 색연필, right? 색연필. But this is also read 색연필, which means it's the color crayon, like color pencil, like these kind of things are called color pencil. So it says 색연필 here, right? 12 colors, 색연필. And this isn't read 색연필, it's read 색연필. And I try to look up like on the internet why we pronounce it this way, like why certain words with 기역 받침 and 이응 combination have this kind of rule, rule. But I thought that it's maybe not a good idea to kind of explain all of them to you guys. And I'm not sure if it's like very, very necessary. So like the best alternative that I can give you guys for now is you guys can just remember it. Remember like certain words that don't follow this regular pronunciation rule and kind of get used to it. That's like the best alternative that I can give to you guys. Sorry about that. But like being aware of the possibility where uk and combination makes 응느 sound will really help you understand why native Korean speakers pronounce certain words that way, different from what I normally learned. I hope this makes sense, guys. And moving on to the next one, 기역받침 combined with 흐. And this one as well, before we move on to like the actual example words, let's try pronouncing uk, 흐. Uk. Inevitably, it produces k sound, right? K sound. So, 기역받침 combined with 히읗 consonant produces k sound. So, one example is this word, 행복해요. 행복해요. It means I'm happy. And you guys notice that I pronounced this one as k. So, it's pronounced 행복해요. 행복해요. I'm happy. 행복해요. And how about this one? 어떻게 생각해요? 어떻게 생각해요? So if you see, like, okay, let's look at these two. You see that this one is a combination of 기역받침 and 히읗 consonant. And this one is like the other way around, right? 히읗 받침 combined with 기역 consonant. And in both cases, they produce k sound. And we're going to learn more examples on this when we do 히읗 받침. But if you compare these two and know that they both make k sound, it'll be easier to remember. So, 어떻게 생각해요? 어떻게 생각해요? 어떻게 생각해요? And 어떻게 means how. And 생각해요 means think. So, how think. Like, so what do you think? What do you think of it? 어떻게 생각해요? And so that was the consonant assimilation rule for 기역 받침 combination. Now let's move on to 니은 받침. And we're going to first start off with 니은 받침 with 기역 consonant combination. So the most common example is this word, 한국. We learned that this word means Korea, right? Korea. When it's like attached with another noun, then it can also mean Korean, right? Korean food, Korean person, like Korean dish, kind of like that, right? And 한국, you can enunciate it and pronounce like 한국, right? 한국. There's nothing wrong with it. No one's gonna like not understand what you're saying. But if you kind of listen closely, you'll notice that this one sounds like 한국. And it's much easier to pronounce it that way. 한국. So this 은 sound, when combined with k sound, So 은 softens to 응 when it meets k sound. So that's why it's natural to pronounce it like 한국. And remembering that, I think you guys can pronounce this word by yourself. 전국, right? 전국. So you can enunciate it and say 전국. But if you speak it fast, it's 전국, right? 전국. And 전국, this word means entire nation. So 국 is a Sino-Korean word that means country. And 전국 literally means the entire country. So it's like nationwide, the entire country, the whole country. 전국. And let's move on to this one. So this one has two consonant assimilation happening, which is here, one from here, and another one from here. So can you try pronouncing it by yourself? 한국 남자. So it's okay to say 한국 남자. You can enunciate it, but that's very like ineffective. That's also kind of uncomfortable. But you can just follow the natural phonetic phenomenon and say 한국 남자. Then it'll sound like 한국 남자. And it means Korean men. So Korean guy. 한국 남자. And this one means something to eat. It comes from the verb 먹다, which means to eat. And 는 거 is one way to a noun, which we'll learn more in the grammar session. But this one, can you try pronouncing this one? There are also two consonant assimilation happening. 먹는 거, 먹는 거, 먹는 거, 먹는 거, 먹는 거, 먹는 거, right? This softens to when it meets n, right? And softens to when it meets k. So that's how it's pronounced. 먹는 거. 저는 먹는 거를 좋아해요. I like things to eat. 먹는 거를 좋아해요. I like things to eat. But here's the tricky part about this combination, guys. So there are some words that have different rules. So to understand it better, let's look at it separately, word by word. So this word means popularity. Popularity. And following the rule that we just learned, it should be 인기, right? 인기, 인기, 인기. But this one is pronounced 인기, 인기. This specific word is pronounced 인기. And if you pronounce it 인기, not many native speakers will understand. So you have to pronounce it properly and say 인기, 인기, popularity. And if you say 인기가 많아요, 인기 많아요, you mean that something or someone is very popular. 인기 많아요, 인기 많아요, popular. And let's look at this word as well. This one is also, just like 인기, pronounced 윤기, 윤기. And I know that there are a lot of armies out there, and 윤기 is a name of BTS member Suga, right? So if it's a name, strangely, we pronounce it 윤기, 윤기, 윤기. But 윤기 would be the correct pronunciation, right? 윤기, 윤기. But when 윤기 is an actual word, that means shine. It's a noun that means shine. Usually used when you mean like shine on your hair. It's pronounced 윤기, 윤기, 윤기. So if you say 너 머리에 윤기나, 윤기나, it means your hair is exuding shine. So it's like your hair is shining. So 머리에 윤기나, 윤기, 윤기 means shine. But when it's a name, you can read it like 윤기. So that's one of the like strange phenomenon that you guys have to kind of separately note. 그다음에 if you look at this sentence, 신발을 신고 있어요. 신발을 신고 있어요. So here I pronounce this part as 신고, right? 신고. So you can say 신발을 신고 있어요. 신고 있어요. People will understand you, but the most natural sounding pronunciation of it is 신고. This 그 has to be more emphasized when it meets 은 sound, and you can say 신고, 신고. And 신발 means shoes. And 신다 is a verb that means to wear, but it's only used when you're wearing something on your foot. So it could be like wearing your shoes or wearing your socks. So 신발을 신고 있어요. This 고 있어요 is a grammar expression that is present progressive. That means is verb ing. So it means like I am wearing shoes. Present progressive. We're going to learn it later in our grammar session. And moving on to 니은 받침 when it's combined with 리을 consonant. So the most common example is this one. 연락하다, 연락하다. Do you guys notice that I pronounce it like 연락하다? So this combination we learned, right? 윽 with h produces k, right? So this is not difficult to understand, but this one is the new one. So when 은 sound is combined with l sound, what we do is we tend to kind of make 은 sound into 을 sound to make it more comfortably pronounced. So when you try to enunciate it and say 연락하다, 연락하다, our tongue kind of hurts because like I said, we're not really used to pronouncing like l sound or l sound. We find it more comfortable if we kind of make it soft. So you can say 연락하다. We just replace un sound to 을 sound, and that way it's a lot more comfortable for the mouth and the tongue. 연락하다, 연락하다. And 연락하다 means like to contact or to like keep in touch. So 연락하다 can mean like to call or to text or like to keep in touch. And 연락해, 연락해. You can say to someone 연락해 when you want to say, oh, please keep in touch. Like keep in touch. 연락해, 연락해, 연락해. And if you look at this word, 온라인 수업, 온라인 수업. So this actually comes from, this is a Konglish that comes from English word, online, online. And strangely, in English, it's easy to pronounce un and l together, online, online. But us Koreans don't really find it that easy to say online. It's just so uncomfortable on our tongue. So we can say, so you can pronounce it like this. 온라인, 온라인 수업, 온라인 수업. So if you want to sound more like a Korean, you can say 온라인, 온라인 수업. So it means online class or online class. 온라인 수업, 온라인 수업. This is also a good word to know. So 동물, you see here, guys. 동물 means animal, animal. 동영상, guys, 동영상. This is 동영상. This is a video. 동영상 means a video, a video. So 동 here means move, moving, or move or moving. And 동물 literally means a moving creature. So 동물 means an animal, animal. And 애완동물, if you say 애완동물, it means a pet, pet. So this is like the most common way to say a pet, but this is more of a advanced word to say a pet. And if you use this word to mean pet, like people will be very surprised, like, wow, you know this word. So 반려동물, 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 반려동물. It also means a pet. So 반려동물, 반려동물. You can see that 은 softened to 을 to make it more comfortable. And the last example would be 관리, 관리. So you can notice that I pronounce it 관, 은 softened to 을리, 관리, right? And 관리 means management, management. So if you say 관리하다, it's a verb that means to manage, but not just like managing something big like a company or something, but we can also use it when we say to manage our time. 시간 관리, time management, time management. 돈 관리, money management. And 건강 관리, 건강 means health, so health management. So we use 관리 not just when we say to manage, but also when we put a lot of effort in something, like we take care of something really well. You know that a lot of Koreans are very like interested in like beauty products and stuff like that, right? So we also say 피부 관리, 피부 관리 to mean like skin management, and it literally means like you're putting a lot of effort in your skin, taking care of your skin. 관리하다 means to manage or like to take care of, to put a lot of effort in something. 그다음에 moving on to the next rule. 은 combined with м. 은무. So this one as well, you can just enunciate it. This is something that's okay to enunciate, and you can say 선물, and everybody will understand. 선물 means gift, by the way. But you can also notice that 은무, when you pronounce it fast, 은무, it's much easier to pronounce it like So 선, when it meets m, kind of gets softens, I guess, to kind of gets assimilated to So 선물, you can pronounce it 선물 as well. 선물. And also 전망. If you say 전망, it means prospect, but it also means view. Like, oh, 전망이 좋아요. The view is really good. View. 전망. You can pronounce it like 전망. So this 은 gets assimilated to sound when it's pronounced with m together. 전망. And oh, this one. So we learned that 한국, right? 한국 means Korea. We also learned that 한국 is pronounced like 한국 with sound, right? 한국. But 대한민국 is kind of a very official way to say Korea. So it's more like a Republic of Korea. So 대한민국, the Republic of Korea. And you can see that there are two consonant assimilation happening in these two parts. So like the best way to pronounce it would be 대한민국. This softened to assimilated to as soon as it meets m, right? And this softened to as soon as it meets k. So 대한민국, Republic of Korea. 그다음에 same with 니은 받침 when it's combined with 피읍 consonant. So here also kind of gets assimilated to and then you put p. So here you can enunciate it and say 전부, but it's more comfortable to say 전부. 전부 means everything. I think a lot of lyrics has this letter, this word in it, like you're my everything. 너는 내 전부야. So 전부은 assimilated to 전부. 그다음에 안 봐요. This one is pronounced like 안 봐요. This got assimilated to sound when it meets b. Right? 안 봐요. And 봐요 means like watch, see, look. And 안 is one way of negating a verb. So it means I don't watch, or I don't look, or I don't see. 안 봐요. And 한 번. It's pronounced like 한 번. Got assimilated to right? 한 번. And 한 번 means once. Although like not always it means once, but usually it means once. And like I said, guys, for ian consonant combination, I'm just gonna skip it because this is relatively easy, right? But just to kind of do this sentence, just for like reading practice, I guess. 저 사람은, this is pronounced 저 사람은. Oh, the sun is up. You can see the sun ray, right? Oh, the sun seems to be gracing our lesson with its presence. So 저 사람은 한국인이에요, right? 저 사람은 한국인이에요. And this sentence means that person is 한국인, which means Korean person. That person is Korean. 저 사람은 한국인이에요. Moving on to 니은 받침 when it's combined with 히읗 consonant. So what happens is, you can pay attention to how I'm pronouncing this. 미안해요. Did you pick up that h sound or not? No, right? 미안해요. No, right? So no matter how much I try to pronounce this h, 미안해요, it gets muted because of n sound. So this one, you can pronounce it like 미안해요. I can say 미안해요, but that's just gonna sound weird. So you can just follow the natural phonetic phenomenon and say 미안해요, and it means I'm sorry. 미안해요, I'm sorry. 은행 means bank. The way I pronounced it is 은행. So this h sound got muted because of this un sound, right? 은행, a bank. And this one, we learned what 사람 is, right? 사람 means a person. And if you say 가난한 사람, you notice that I pronounce it like 가난한. 가난한 사람, 가난한 사람. And 가난하다 means to be poor. Like, not poor as in like I feel sympathy toward that person, but it's more like financially not wealthy person, a poor person. So 가난한 사람 means poor person. 가난한 사람, 가난한 사람. 그 다음에 moving on to 디귿받침. Finally, 디귿받침 combined with 기역 consonant. So our first word is 숟가락, 숟가락. And did you notice that this was pronounced 숟가락, 숟가락, 숟가락? So 디귿받침 has that ut sound, right? Ut sound, ut, right? So if you try to pronounce 빛, it's pronounced 빛, right? 빛, or like 것, tot, right? So it has that ut sound, and when ut sound is combined with ku, it just naturally puts more emphasis on ku sound, and it gets pronounced 그. 숟가락, 숟가락, 숟가락. So if you find it difficult to make 그 sound, try saying ut and then 그. That 그 sound is the exact sound this double consonant 쌍기역, right, makes. So 숟가락, 숟가락 is pronounced 숟가락, 숟가락, and it means a spoon, spoon. And a similar thing happens, guys, with 젓가락. So we're gonna learn this when we're doing 시읒받침, but 시읒받침, we also learn that it has ut sound, right? Ut sound, ut. So when you try pronouncing this, it's also pronounced 젓가락. It puts more emphasis on 그, and it becomes 그, 쌍기역 sound. 젓가락, 젓가락. And I thought these two would be good to kind of compare because they have similar assimilation rule, and they also mean similar thing. Like the 숟가락 means spoon, and 젓가락 means chopsticks. Chopsticks. So 숟가락 and 젓가락. Moving on to 디귿받침 when it's combined with 느. So before we actually read this, let's try pronouncing ut sound with 느 sound. This ut sound softens to as soon as it meets 느 sound, right? So that's what happens. 걷는 중이에요. 걷는 중이에요. This ut sound softens to sound, right? sound. 걷는 중이에요. 걷는 중이에요. And if you say 는 중이에요, this is also what we're going to learn in grammar session, but this is the same as what I briefly mentioned in an earlier sentence. 고 있어요, which means like I'm in the middle of doing that verb. I am doing that verb. B-I-N-G grammar, right? So 걷는 중이에요 or 걷고 있어요, they both mean the same thing. And if you pronounce 걷고 있어요, 걷고 있어요, you notice that this ut gives more emphasis to 그 sound. So it's pronounced 걷고 있어요. 걷고 있어요. Right? So this one is 걷는, right? And this one is 걷고. And also, 음악을 듣는 중이에요. 음악 means music. 음악을, and it is an object marker that you'll learn in grammar lesson. But 음악을, this one, can you try pronouncing this one? Ut combined with 느, right? 듣는 중이에요. So it's pronounced this way. So although spelled this way, it's pronounced this way, right? 듣는 중이에요. And 듣다 means to listen. So it means I'm in the middle of, or I am listening to music. 음악을 듣는 중이에요. So we just learned ut combination, ut with 느 combination, right? That ut softens to when it meets 느. And I brought these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 받침 because these in itself has the same ut sound, right? They all have the same ut sound. So not, they sound the same in itself. And when other letters are combined, the consonant assimilation happens, so they're pronounced differently. But in itself, the letters, they sound the same. Pit, 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 pit. Got, mat, right? So I'm mentioning this because the same rule applies. So 코로나 때문에 못 나가요. You can see that this is a combination of 으 and 느, right? So you can notice that this will soften to 은 and 느. So 코로나 때문에, 코로나, we say COVID-19, just coronavirus. 코로나 때문에, because of coronavirus, 못 나가요. This is pronounced like this. 못 나가요. And 나가다 means to leave, to go out. And 못 is another way to negate a verb, which means like can't. Like this is more of an expression of inability. Like you can't do that verb. So it means I can't leave because of coronavirus. 코로나 때문에 못 나가요. And the important thing to note here is that it softens to 은 when it meets н, right? 못 나가요. I can't leave. And same with 지읒 받침 when it's combined with 느, 은느, right? 은느. So the same thing happens. This one is pronounced 만나요, 만나요, 만나요. And this one comes from the adjective 맞다, which means to be correct or to be right. And 나요 is a question ending. So by saying 맞나요, it means am I right or is it right? 맞나요? 맞나요? So there is another verb, 만나요, 만나요, which means meet. So 만나요 and 만나요, although they're spelled differently, they are pronounced exactly the same, right? And usually you can know which one is used by context in the sentence. So you don't have to worry too much about it. 만나요. 그 다음에 same with 으 combined with 느. So this one should be pronounced 빛나다, 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 빛나다. And 빛나다 means to shine. And to break down this word, 빛 here, 빛 means light. And 나다 has like many other meanings, but here it means like kind of like to exude light. So that's how it means to shine. 빛나다, 빛나다. And you can also say 빛이 나다, 빛이 나다. So you put the subject marker E to mark 빛, and then you put the verb. 빛이 나다, 빛나다, they both mean the same thing. If you guys have heard of Blackpink Jennie's solo song, in the lyrics there is 빛이 나는 솔로, right? 빛이 나는 솔로. So it literally means a solo that shines. 빛이 나다. So it comes from this word. A solo that shines. So when she says 빛이, this is not a swear word. In English, it sounds like a swear word, but it's actually not. And I thought that was really clever in that lyrics, what they did. 빛이 나다. And it also works the same with 으, with 느. This 으, right? This 티읕 받침 also has 으 sound, right? So you can notice that this will sound like 같네요, 같네요. 저랑 이름이 같네요, 같네요. And 이름 means name. And 같네요, this kat comes from 같다, which means to be the same. So when you say 저랑 이름이 같네요, it means like I can see that you have the same name with me. Your name is same as mine. 저랑 이름이 같네요. And the last one, 히읗 받침 itself also has 으 sound. Itself. So when you pronounce this one, 아기를 낳는 과정. 아기를 낳는 과정. This 으 softens to 은 sound, right? 은. 낳는 과정. 아기를 낳는 과정. 과정 means process. And then is kind of it's a grammar suffix that makes the verb into a modifier. So it literally means the process where you give birth to 아기, baby. 아기를 낳는 과정. The process of giving birth to a baby. And the same works when these 으 sound gets combined with 무 sound. This also gets softened to 은. So if you look at this example, 빛, 빛, 빛. They all sound the same, but they're just spelled differently with different 받침. So, and they have different meaning too. So 빛 means comb, a comb that you brush your hair with. And 빛 here means that. And 빛, as we learned, means light. And 많은 사람 means, so 사람 means person, right? We learned this a couple of times here in this lesson. And 많다 means to be many. So when you say 빚 많은 사람, 빚 많은 사람, it's pronounced 빚 많은, right? This ut sound combined with m softens to right? 빚 많은 사람, 빚 많은 사람. So when you say 빚 많은 사람, 빚 많은 사람, 빚 많은 사람, they all sound the same because it's the combination of ut and m, right? So they're all pronounced 빚 많은 사람. And the first one would mean a person that has a lot of combs. Second one, a person that has a lot of debt. And the third one, a person that has a lot of light. So they have different meaning, although they're pronounced the same. And we're going to learn more examples when we're actually doing the 시읒 받침 or 피읒 받침 and 치읒 받침 and 티귿 받침. For now, you can understand that ut and m or ut and n sound all have like the same rule. Ut softens to un. And let's move on to 티귿 받침 when it's combined with 이응 consonant. So I told you guys that I'm going to skip 이응 consonant combination because it's quite easy, right? Easy to understand. But there's a reason that I'm doing. As you can guess, there is an exception word. So if you follow a general rule, like regular rule, it should be 믿어. 너를 믿어 means like I trust you or I believe you. And this one, 선물을 받았어요. So that's the regular rule. Like this 받침 sound, when combined with the next letter, it becomes the first consonant sound, right? So it sounds like 믿어 and 받았어요, right? But this word is an exception, and also I forgot to add, this word is another exception as well. So let's look at this word first. 해 means sun. It also means ear, but it means sun as well. And 해, this one might seem like it should be pronounced 도디, right? 도디, but that is not true. The correct pronunciation is 해 도지. 해돋이. This is also one of the irregular pronunciation rule, and this means sunrise. 해돋이. And this one is also an irregular pronunciation. It's not 마디. It should be pronounced 마지. And 마지 means the oldest one. In the group or like in the sibling group, it means the oldest person, 마지. And the antonym of this word is 막내. And if you guys remember the pronunciation consonant assimilation rules that we learned so far, you can pronounce this one correctly. 막내. 윽 softens to right? That's why it's 막내. 막내 means the youngest one. 마지 means the oldest one. 그다음에 let's move on to 티귿 받침 when it's combined with 히읗 consonant. So this is also a very tricky one because sometimes this combination makes t sound, whereas sometimes this combination makes ch sound. And there are no like specific rule for it either. Like the most general rule will be that when 티귿 받침 is combined with 히읗 consonant that follows e or 여 vowel, like 다치다 or 다쳤어요. The way I just pronounced it was, so let's look at it bigger. The way I pronounced it was 다치다, right? So this ut combined with 히읗 consonant with e vowel produces ch sound. So 다치다, it means to be close. It's a verb that means to be close. And these two are the conjugated form of 다치다. There's more grammar to explain, but I'm just going to skip it, guys. So what's more important is that these two make ch sound, 쳐 sound. So this one, 다쳐요. and 다 쳤어요. 다 쳤어요. 다 쳤어요. Because it sound is combined with here consonant that has 여 or e vowel, right? So that's why it produces ch sound. So that seems like the general rule, but there's also an exception that kind of fries the learner's brain. So here, this one is also a combination of 디귿 받침 and here consonant with 여 vowel, right? So based on the rule that we just learned, it should be pronounced 바청, right? But that is not true. It's pronounced 바청, 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 바청. And 바청 means the oldest brother. The oldest brother. And 형 is a word that means brother. And it is only used by a male person to another male who is older. If you're a female and want to say brother or a male older than you can say 오빠, 오빠. So 오빠 went out there into the world and it became kind of exaggerated. Like 오빠 means someone you love, but that is not true. 오빠's first meaning is your like actual blood related brother, and it is a term that is used for female only. And it also means any guys that are older than you. Any guys that are older than you, we can call them 오빠, 오빠. But not like very, very older. Like you cannot call like some middle-aged man or like a really old grandpa a oppa. That would be very disrespectful for them. So it's just for people with like enough age gap who's older. Yay, we're done with 디귿 받침. And now we're moving on to 리을 받침. So we're starting with 리을 받침 when it's combined with 느 consonant. So let's look at this one. 설날. 설날. I pronounce it like 설날, right? 설날. And doesn't this rule look familiar? It has a very similar rule as the one that we learned in 니은 받침 and 리을 consonant combination, right? So the way we pronounced this word, for example, was 연락, right? 연락. So we kind of replace 은 sound with 르 sound, kind of make it more easier to pronounce because double 리을 is much more easier to pronounce than 은, right? 은, So same works here. Rather than saying 을느, it's way easier to pronounce double 르. So that's why it's replaced to 리을. 니은 is replaced to 르 to make it more comfortable to pronounce. 설날. And 설날 is a kind of a very big holiday in Korea. It's a family holiday. So usually there's like at least 5 days weekend. And on that period of time, family kind of gather together and kind of eat food together and celebrate like the new year. 발냄새, 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 발냄새. So again, this 느, when combined with 리을 받침, replaced to 리을 sound, right? So 발냄새 means foot smell. So the smell that comes from your foot. 발냄새, 발냄새. And moving on to 리을 받침 combination with 히읗 consonant. So can you guys try paying attention to my pronunciation? 오래, 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 오래. So you don't hear that h sound. And no matter how much I try to like make the sound 오래, 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 it gets muted. So you can just say 오래. And it's same with the 니은 받침 and h combination, right? So the way we pronounce 미안해, for example, was 미안해, 미안해. This h sound gets muted, right? Because of this 은 sound. And same here. This sound, because of the sound, this h sound kind of gets muted. So it's pronounced 오래, 오래, 오래. You can't say 올해, 올해, but it's very uncomfortable and it's not necessary. So you can just say 올해, and this means this year, this year. We learned that 작년 means last year, right? And 올해 means this year. Also, 저는 한국어를 잘해요, 잘해요. This one, also the 히읗 gets muted and you pronounce it like 잘해요. 저는 한국어를 잘해요. And this is also a good expression to note when you say something, 을 or 를 잘해요. It means you're good at noun. You're good at that noun. So 저는 한국어를 잘해요 means I'm good at Korean. I speak Korean very well. I speak Korean fluently. 저는 한국어를 잘해요. 잘해요. And moving on to 미음 받침. 미음 받침 when it's combined with 리을 consonant. So this one, please pay attention to my pronunciation. 심리, 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 심리. If you enunciate it, you can say 심리, 심리, 심리. But like I said, Koreans kind of have difficulty pronouncing like 응르 or 음르, right? In Korean pronunciation, it's kind of difficult to pronounce like 응르 or 음르. So instead, we make it more convenient and replace l sound with n sound. So 심리, 심리, 심리 means psychology, psychology, 심리. And so this one would be pronounced like 심리학, right? 심리학. And this 학 is a Sino-Korean word that comes from Chinese character, this one, which means study. So when you kind of put 학 after a certain noun, it means the study of that noun. So study of psychology. So it's a name of kind of like a major in the university or like in big schools. 심리학, 심리학. 저는 심리학을 전공해요. 전공해요. 전공해요 means like I major in something. And if you say 저는 심리학을 전공해요, it means I major in psychology. We use 학 to mean that that is the name of like the studies that I'm studying. This one as well. Combined with l gets replaced with n, right? So l becomes n. So 음료, 음료, 음료 means beverage. 음료. You can also say 음료수, 음료수, 음료수 or 음료, beverage. And moving on to 미음 받침 when it's combined with 히읗 consonant. So this one has a very similar rule with when 니은 받침 is combined with 히읗 or when 리을 받침 is combined with 히읗. This h sound gets muted. So I'll try pronouncing the whole sentence. 한국어 조금해요, 조금해요, 조금해요. So you can like hear that slight h, right? That slight h. But still, it's not like very, very clear. And still, is the dominant sound, right? So 한국어 조금해요, 조금해요. So you don't have to say 조금해요. You can just follow the natural phonetic phenomenon and just say 조금해요, 조금해요. 밤 and 하늘. 밤 means night. 하늘 means sky. So when you say 밤하늘, 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 you can also see that this h sound is not really like obvious. It's not the prominent sound, right? Instead, is more dominant here. So 밤하늘, 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 밤하늘. Instead, this m sound kind of gets lighter than full m sound, right? It kind of gets lighter because of the h sound. 밤하늘, 밤하늘, and 조금해요, 조금해요. And moving on to 비읍 받침, 비읍 받침. So first starting from 비읍 받침's combination with 니은 consonant. The most common example is 감사합니다, 감사합니다. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of this phrase, which means thank you. 감사합니다, 감사합니다. So here, it also makes sense if you try to pronounce right? 비읍 받침 has sound, right? And then n sound. 음네. It becomes softens to sound, right? So that's what happens here as well. 감사합니다. You don't have to enunciate it like that. You can just soften to and say 감사합니다. 감사합니다. 감사합니다, right? 감사합니다. And this one as well. 저는 비키입니다. 저는 비키입니다. 입니다. right? Depending on like people, some of you will hear also 합니다 or 입니다. But you don't have to like take this too seriously. It really depends on people. Like I pronounce it like 합니다. While some people pronounce it like 합니다 because it's more convenient for them. So I'm just mentioning this so that just in case you guys are confused about that. 저는 Vicky입니다 means I am Vicky. And 입니다 is also another ending that you will learn when you start grammar class. 저는 Vicky입니다. I am Vicky. And this one. So we learned 냄새. We learned a lot of 냄새, right? We did 부엌 냄새, the kitchen smell, and 발 냄새, the foot smell. And also, this one is 입 and then 냄새. So smell that comes from your mouth. So 입 냄새 means breath, your breath. So this one, like I pronounced it, up soften as soon as it means n to sound. So 입냄새, 입냄새, mouth smell, so breath. 입냄새. And moving on to 비읍 받침 when it's combined with 리을 consonant. So let's try pronouncing up with l. So you can see that this up softens to right? So it should be and then, like we learned, we Koreans find it difficult to pronounce le or unle or ungle, right? So what we do is we replace lier sound to n sound, n sound. So with that in mind, this combination would sound 합리적이다, 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 합리적이다. And it means to be reasonable. So this one is also 합리적인, 합리적인 선택, 합리적인 선택, a reasonable 선택, choice, choice. 그다음에, so this one is kind of commonly used in like Korean language. So 자연 means nature, and 의 is a possessional particle, so it means nature's 섭리, 섭리. This 읍르 gets softens to right? 읍르 to That's why it's pronounced like 섭리. And 자연의 섭리. If you translate this word by word, it's nature's providence. Nature's providence, but I don't think like in English you guys use a lot of the word providence, right? So what it means is the nature's way. The nature's way, so it's like how it is naturally. 자연의 섭리, 자연의 섭리. Moving on to 비읍 받침 when it's combined with 미음 consonant. So this is also something that will make sense if you try pronouncing up with m. Right? Up softens to So when you say 고양이 7마리, 고양이 7마리. So this is also one of the things that you learn in grammar class. But if you say noun, number, and counter word, the measure word, it goes in the order of noun, number, and counter word. And it means cat, 7, and body is a counter word for animals. When you're counting animals, you use body. So 고양이 7마리 means 7 cats. 7 cats. And you can notice that this here is pronounced like 7마리. 7마리, right? 고양이 7마리. 7 cats. And also, this one works the same. Noun, number, and counter word. And this is, 명 is a counter word for person. So 사람 we learn means a person, right? So 사람 is actually like redundant here because by putting 명, you kind of know that, oh, it means like people, 9 people. But this is not entirely wrong. So 사람 9명, 사람 9명, 홈, softens to 홈, and then 명. It means 9 people. 9 people. Moving on to 비읍 받침. When it's combined with 히읗 consonant, it produces p sound. Before we do the actual word, let's try pronouncing up with h. Up. Inevitably, p sound gets produced, right? P. So these two produces p sound. That's how this word is pronounced. 복잡하다. 복잡하다. And this one is a verb that means to be complicated. To be complicated. 복잡하다. And next one. So we learned just earlier that when you count something, you write the noun first, what you're counting, and then number, and then the counter word, right? So 집 means a house. 한 comes from 하나 and it means one. And 채 is a counter word that you use when you're counting like buildings. So 집 한 채, 집 한 채. This one is pronounced 집 한 채, right? 집 한 채, 집 한 채. This means one house, one house. 집 한 채. Okay, so we are almost halfway through, I think. So let's move on to 시읒 받침. 시읒 받침. So this one shouldn't take a lot of time because we already did some of them when we're doing 디귿 받침, right? Because we're comparing it with the same ut sound, 받침 with same ut sound, right? So it shouldn't take a lot of time from here. So we learned 젓가락. 젓가락 is pronounced 젓가락, right? 젓가락. Because this ut gives more emphasis on 그, right? And this means chopstick, chopstick. And when you combine ut with n consonant, it also becomes n sound, right? This ut softens to n. So let's look at a few examples. If you say 옛날, 옛날, it means previous days, previous days. So it means like the past or like previously. 옛날. And this one, ut softens to n, so it's pronounced like 옛날, 옛날, right? This one. So we learned 못, right? 못 means can't, can't. And I also briefly mentioned what 만나요 means. It means meet. So this sentence literally means can't meet, so I can't meet. And the way it's pronounced is this ut softens to n as soon as it meets m, right? So it's pronounced 못 만나요, 못 만나요. Same with this one. 못 말해요, 못 말해요. And there's another consonant assimilation happening here. We learned that when 을 is combined with 흐, naturally 흐 sound gets muted. So this whole sentence is pronounced 못 말해요, 못 말해요, 못 말해요. 말해요 means like speak, tell, say, etc. All those verbal kind of meanings. So it means I can't say, I can't speak, or I can't talk. 못 말해요. And also, I'm not sure if you guys already learned what 존댓말 is. 존댓말. There are two types of speech in Korean, right? Formal speech and also informal speech. And we say 존댓말 to mean formal speech. So here, this one is pronounced 존댓말. 존댓말. This ut softens to m sound, right? And 반말. 반말 means informal speech. Informal speech. And while I was teaching one student, he kind of mentioned some interesting point about it. So we learned that when 니은 받침 is combined with m sound, this 은 gets assimilated to right? So you can pronounce it 반말, right? We learned it here. Let me show you. We learned it here, right? So it's pronounced 선물, 전망, 대한민국, right? So he mentioned that, then if this is the case, this one is also a combination of 니은 받침 and 말, right? 니은 받침 and m, right? So does that mean it can also be pronounced like 존댓말? And yes, that is actually true. So that was a really interesting point that I missed. So I thank him for that question. Hi, everybody. And so yes, you can pronounce it like 존댓말. And the other things too, you can pronounce this one 못 말해요 as well. 못 말해요. 못 말해요. And this one as well. 못 만나요. 못 만나요. Although it's not like a very, very, very important point because either you pronounce it 은무 or 음무, it doesn't really make that much of a difference when the other person understands you. But still, I wanted to mention it just in case some of you guys have like the same question. And moving on to 시읒 받침 when it's combined with 히읗 consonant. So if you pronounce it first, inevitably it makes t sound, right? So this one, 저는 한국어를 right? 으트 makes t sound. So this one is pronounced 못해요. And we learned 잘해요, right? 잘해요. When you say you 잘해요 something, it means you are good at something. Like 한국어를 잘해요 means you're good at Korean. But if you say 한국어를 못해요 or 못해요, it's pronounced this way. 못해요, it means I don't speak Korean or I can't speak Korean. 저는 한국어를 못해요. And you can also say like 저는 요리를 못해요. I can't cook. I'm not good at cooking. 저는 요리를 못해요. 지금 means now. 지금 전화 means phone call. Or it can also mean just phone. 전화를 못해요. And this one means I can't call you right now. I can't be on the phone right now. So 못해요 has two meanings. So it can either mean I am not good at something, or it can literally mean can't. We learned that 못 means can't, right? Can't do. So I am not able to like call right now. And also there are some adjectives, some very, very useful adjectives that has that consonant assimilation in it. So this one, 따뜻하다. Right? Right? So this one is pronounced 따뜻하다, and this is an adjective that means warm, for something to be warm. And 비슷하다. This one also has that t sound, and this one means to be similar. 저희는 비슷해요. We are similar. 비슷하다. 다음에 moving on to 이응 받침 finally. So there is not much to look at 이응 받침 because usually it's not really difficult to pronounce 이응 받침, right? So both of these have two 이응 받침 in it. So I brought these words. So it's pronounced 성공, right? 성공, and it means success. And if you say 쌍둥이, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. 쌍둥이 means twin. But I guess there's one kind of important rule to know in 이응 받침 is 이응 받침 combined with 리을 consonant. So I'm pretty sure if you guys have been like taking notes of everything that I've been explaining, you guys can guess what this would sound like. So I mentioned that Koreans have kind of difficulty pronouncing and l together, or and l together, or and l together, right? So what we do is we replace this l sound to n sound, right? So that's what happens here as well. L becomes n. So it's pronounced 공룡 instead of 공룡 because it's a lot more comfortable for us. 공룡 means dinosaur. And this one, you guys can pronounce this one, I think. 동료. And 동료 means like coworker. 동료. Oh my god, my pen is running out of ink. Let me pull this one out. Oh, and then replace it with the new one. Yay. So 동료 means coworker, and so it's pronounced n. L gets replaced with n when it's combined with 응 sound for the comfort of our pronunciation. And next one is 지읒 받침 when combined with 기역 consonant. And if you remember the rule of like 시읒 받침 and 기역 combination and 디귿 받침 기역 combination, they add more emphasis on 기역 sound, right? So for example, we learned 젓가락 and 숟가락, right? These are the examples where they have it sound combined with 그 sound. And we learned that they add more emphasis on the consonant. So it's 젓가락, 숟가락. Same with this one. 갓 and 가지. When you pronounce it fast, it becomes 갖가지, 갖가지, 갖가지. This it adds more emphasis on 그, 갖가지, 갖가지. And this means various types of. It's more of an advanced vocabulary, but I couldn't find like a lot of examples where 지읒 받침 is combined with 그, and this was the only one that I could think of right now, so that's why I brought it. But it means various types of 갖가지, 갖가지. And also 밤에, 밤에, 밤에 means at night, 밤에 물건 means like thing, an item, an object. 물건을 찾기가, so this one is a combination of it sound and 그 sound, right? So this one is pronounced 찾기, 찾기. 찾기가 어려워요. 어려워요 means difficult. So this whole sentence means it's difficult to find an item, an object at night. It's difficult to find things at night. 찾기가 어려워요. 그다음에 when 지읒 받침 is combined with 니은, we learned this, right? We learned this. So I think you guys can guess how it's pronounced. 으느, 만나요, right? 만나요. So we can skip this one and we can move on to it sound when combined with hut sound. So this one's a little different, and so this one's a little different from 디귿 받침 and 히읗 combination and 시읒 받침 plus 히읗 combination. So we learned that 시읒 받침 when combined with 히읗, it produces 트 sound. And this one, it sometimes produces 트 sound or 츠 sound, right? But the combination of 지읒 받침 and 히읗 only produces 트 sound. 지읒 받침 plus 히읗 produces 츠 sound. So this one should be pronounced 잊히다, 잊히다. And this one, 마치다, 마치다, right? 잊히다, this word means to be forgotten. 마치다 means to get something right, to guess something right. So if you say, I got the answer right, I got the answer right, you can say 정답을, 정답 means answer, 정답을 맞췄어요, 맞췄어요. So these two produces that 츠 sound, right? 맞췄어요. Moving on to 치읓 받침. We're almost towards the end, guys. So 치읓 받침, when combined with 기역 consonant, it's the same as when 지읒 받침 is combined with 기역 consonant. So it puts more emphasis on 기역. So this word should be pronounced 몇 개, 몇 개. So 몇 개요? 몇 개요 means so 개 is a counter word, another counter word, like the most general counter word for counting items. So when you say 몇 개, it means how many, how many. So how many is it? 몇 개요? How many is it? We also learned this. 치읓 받침 combined with 느 consonant. We learned that 은느, right? 은느. So this one should be pronounced 빛나는 별. 빛나는 별. I'm not sure if you guys remember what 빛나다 means, but we learned this, right? It means to shine, and 별 means a star. 별 means a star. So it literally means a star that's shiny. So it means the shiny star. 빛나는 별. Moving on to 치읓 받침 when it's combined with 니음 consonant. This is also something that you can guess by now. 은무, right? 은무. It softens to 은. So this one should be pronounced 몇 명이요? 몇 명이요? I think if you guys kind of put together what we learned so far, you guys can definitely guess what this would mean. 몇 we learn means like how many, and 명 we learn is a counter word for people. So 몇 명 means how many people. How many people is it? How many people are there? 몇 명이에요? 몇 명이에요? And it's pronounced right? And moving on to the next one. This one I think shouldn't be too hard to guess because this is ut combined with p. So you can hear that there's more emphasis on p. So it becomes b sound. So 몇 병 is pronounced 몇 병. Oh, I just realized that this pen is a lot more visible than this pen on screen. I should have used this pen all along. And this means how many bottles. How many bottles? So 병 means bottle. Oh, and I forgot to mention, which is not really important because you're gonna learn it in grammar classes anyway, but 몇 can also mean a few. So 몇 병 can mean how many bottles, or it can also mean a few bottles. And moving on to like 기역 받침, there's actually not much to do because if you remember the 기역 받침 rule, they all kind of make sense. And we also did some of the 기역 받침 combination, right? This one should be pronounced 부엉 냄새, right? 부엉 냄새, because 윽 combined with 느 produces 응 sound, right? So 부엉 냄새, 부엉 냄새. And this one, 부엉문, 부엉문, right? And we learned that 부엉 means kitchen, 문, door, so it means kitchen door, 부엉문. And 부엉 냄새, kitchen smell, 부엉 냄새. And moving on to 티읕 받침. Finally, we're really almost to the end. 티읕 받침, when it's combined with 기역 받침 or 니은 받침, 기역 consonant or 니은 consonant or 미음 consonant, they work the same with 티귿 받침 when it's combined with these consonant, right? So this word, this verb, 으끄, it should provide more emphasis on 기역 sound, right? So it's pronounced 맡기다. 맡기다. It's a verb that means to entrust or like to assign something to someone with trust. 맡기다. And this one, 으뜨. So this shouldn't be hard to figure out the pronunciation. 끝나요, right? 으뜨. It softens to 은, right? And 끝내요. It softens to 은 again when it meets 느. So 끝나요. So this we'll also learn it in grammar session, but 끝나요 means for something to end, and 끝내요 means for someone to end something. So you can say 수업이 끝났어요 to mean the class ended, and 선생님이 수업을 끝냈어요 to mean the teacher ended the class. So that's the basis of it, and we're going to learn more in grammar class. And also, this is the name of a really, really helpful game for your vocabulary. So first, to look at the pronunciation, this is pronounced 끝마리. And then this one, ut plus 그, should provide more emphasis on 기역, right? So the ultimate pronunciation is like this. 끝말잇기. This ut softens to 은 when it meets mium. And this lier and iun gets connected, so it's li. And then this 시읒, this ut sound, when combined with 그, it provides more emphasis on the following consonant, so it becomes 끄. So that's how it's pronounced. 끝말잇기, and it means word chain. So it's really helpful if you kind of practice your vocabulary doing this game. So to break down this word, literally it means end, word, connecting. So it's like connecting the letter that's at the very end. So it literally works this way. So let's say there are 3 people playing this game, and the first person gives a word in Korean, and it's 고양이, right? It's a cat, and it ended the letter E, right? So the next person has to find a word that starts with E. So you can say 이빨, which means tooth. And the next person can find a word that starts with 빨. 빨. You can say 빨래, 빨래, laundry, laundry. And the next contestant or next person can start finding the word that starts with le or ne. So that's how this game works, and that's 끝말잇기. 끝말잇기. And the most tricky part about 티읕 받침 is when it's combined with 이응 consonant. So following the general rule, this 티읕 받침 when combined with produce t sound, right? Because these two gets connected. We learned this, right? So 같아요, this is pronounced 같아요, and this is pronounced 같은, this is pronounced 밭에, and this is pronounced 붙은, right? So they follow the regular rule, but when 티읕 받침 is combined with 이응 consonant that has 이 or 여 vowel, then it produces ch sound and not t sound. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Oh, let me focus better. So if it's combined with 이 or 여, it produces ch sound. This one, guys, this one has 티읕 받침 combined with 이응 consonant, but the following vowel is 이 or 여, right? So this is when they produce ch sound. So 같이, it's not 같이, guys. It's 같이. Means together. 같이 가자, let's go together. And this one, as you guessed it, also produces ch sound. So it's pronounced 붙여. These two are pronounced 붙여. And these two, I think I briefly mentioned it when we're doing 기역 받침 combination with 히읗 consonant. We learned that the other way works too, right? It works 히읗 받침 with 기역 consonant and 기역 받침 with 히읗 consonant. They work the same way. They both produce k sound, right? So it's 넣기, 붙여넣기. And 붙여넣기 means paste, like pasting as in like in computer. So in English, you guys say copy paste, right? Copy paste, like just copy paste it, right? And in Korean, you can say 복사 for copy, and also 붙여넣기, like that's the official name of the pasting function in Korean, like Korean computer, Korean keyboard. 붙여넣기. So 복사, 붙여넣기 means copy and paste. And what we usually do is we just take out the first letter of each word and say 복붙. So when somebody says 복붙, it means copy paste. 그냥 복붙해, just copy paste it. 복붙해. Finally moving on to 피읍 받침, and then we're gonna do 히읗 받침, our very final 받침. 피읍 받침 combined with 느, 피읍 받침 combined with 무 works the same as 비읍 받침 combined with 느, 비읍 받침 combined with 무, because up and up, each one itself sounds the same, right? Up and up. So when up gets combined with 느, it becomes 느, right? 느. So this one as well, it's pronounced 앞니. And 앞니 means front tooth. So up means front, and 니 comes from 이빨. I briefly mentioned this in the 끝말잇기 game, right? 이빨. And we kind of change 이 to 니은 consonant and say 앞니. So front teeth, the front tooth. And 앞문, use this pen. And 앞문 should be 앞문, right? 앞문. There's this up softness to So finally, we are at 히읗 받침. Wow, I'm so happy, guys. Okay, so let's start from 히읗 받침 combined with 히읗 consonant. And I briefly mentioned this, guys, right? That it works the same way as 히읗 받침 and 히읗 consonant combination. They both produce k sound, right? So this will not be that difficult to figure out. 저도. Can you guys try reading this yourself before I give you like the correct answer? 저도 그렇게 생각해요. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. So 생각해요 means think, right? So I as well think like that. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. And this is like a colloquial expression that you guys can remember when you want to say I agree with you. I think like that too. I agree with you. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. And let's look at these two. So this one is pronounced 어떻게. You guys can see that, right? And this one as well is pronounced 어떻게, right? 어떻게. So they're spelled differently, but they're pronounced exactly the same, right? But they mean different things. So 어떻게, I briefly mentioned that it means how, right? How. And 어떻게 with this spelling is a combination of 어떻게 해, 어떻게 해, 어떻게 해. So 어떻게 해 literally means how do, how do. And it means, the first meaning is how do you do it? Like it's literally asking how you can do it. And the second meaning is like, what should I do? It's more of like a rhetoric question. Like you're not like actually curious on what you should do, but you're more like in a situation where you're kind of lost and you don't know what to do. Let's say you lost your wallet and you cannot find it. You can say like, oh, 어떡해, 어떡해, 어떡해. So that's 어떡해, and this is an abbreviated expression of 어떡해 해. 어떻게 해. And this one is kind of a long sentence. 제 고양이는, my 고양이, cat, subject marker. This one is 하얗고. You guys can now pronounce it correctly, right? 히읗 받침 combined with 히읗. 하얗고, 하얗고. 작아요, 작아요. Sorry, my cat is white and small. So my cat is white and small. 하얗고 comes from the verb 하얗다, which means to be white. And this is combined with the conjunction 고, which means and. And so when it's combined together, it's pronounced 하얗고, 하얗고, because 히읗 받침 combined with 기역 consonant produces 크 sound, right? 하얗고, 작아요. 다음에 moving on to the next one. We also learned this, guys. We also learned this. 히읗 받침 when combined with н. It's 은. That another 은 rule, right? So it softens to 은 and then н. So this 좋나요 is pronounced 좋나요. 좋나요. 한국이 좋나요? 나요 we learn is one of the sentence question ending, and 좋 comes from 좋다, which means to be good or to like. So 한국이 좋나요 means do you like Korea? Do you like Korea? Or is Korea good? And 손 means hand. And 닿다 is a verb that means to reach. And if you say 닿나요? 닿나요? It's pronounced 닿나요, right? 닿나요? And it means, does your hand reach? So you ask this when you want to say, like, can you reach there? Like, is your arm long enough to get there? So 손이 닿나요? 손이 닿나요? And when 히읗 받침 is combined with 디귿 consonant, it produces 트 sound. So 좋다, this verb is pronounced 좋다. And this one as well, 하얗다. We learned that 좋다 means to be good. It also means to like. And 하얗다 means to be white, right? To be white. Moving on to 히읗 받침 when it's combined with 이응 consonant. So I think I briefly mentioned this, guys. So unlike other combination where 받침 is combined with 이응 consonant, this one actually produces no sound from 히읗. No sound. So when you're pronouncing the words that has this combination, you can, so even if you have to spell it this way, when you're pronouncing it, you can just ignore it and say 좋아요. 좋아요, because 히읗 has no like phonetic value and it's combined with 이응 consonant. 그 다음에 this one. So you can see that this one has like two final consonant, right? I actually did a video on it as well. So you guys can learn more about how to pronounce these kinds of words in that video. I'll also make sure to link it in the description box or maybe over here. But this one is pronounced 실. And usually this 히읗 can be combined with the consonant that comes after it. But since the consonant that comes after is 이응 consonant, this loses phonetic value. So you can just ignore this when you're pronouncing it. And this is just pronounced like 싫어요. 싫어요. 좋아요. 싫어요. I like it. I don't like it. And moving on to the next one. Very, 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 very final rule. 히읗 받침, when it's combined with 지읒 consonant, it produces ts sound. So 날씨가 좋죠. 날씨가 좋죠. 날씨 means weather. We learned this, right? And 조 looks familiar, right? It comes from the verb 좋다, which means to be good. Here, it means to be good. So it's good, right? 조 is a sentence ending. So when a 조 sentence ending is combined with 좋, it becomes 좋죠 pronunciation. 날씨가 좋죠. The weather is good, right? The weather is good, right? And last one. 제 고양이는, my cat, subject marker, 하얗지만 더러워요. So this is a combination of the verb 하얗다, which means to be white, and the conjunction 지만, that means but. So this sentence means my cat is white, but 더러워요. It means to be dirty. So my cat is white, but dirty. 제 고양이는 하얗지만, this one has 히읗 받침 and 지읒 consonant, right? So it produces 치 sound. That's why it's pronounced like 하얗지만, right? Okay, so wow, we finished all the rule. Wow. And I'm really, really happy because I've been planning on this lesson for a very, very long time, guys. You guys cannot even imagine, but I'm really, really happy that I finished filming this, and now I only have to edit this, and you guys can get access to this lesson. And I will upload this list on my website for you guys to kind of review or take note on. And thank you so much, guys, for following this lesson. And 수고했어요, 여러분. 수고했어요 is an expression you use when you want to encourage the other person for their hard work. 수고했어요, 여러분. And I will see you guys in my next lesson, which I think will be a grammar lesson, but I will let you guys know on it. And thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!